recruiter here to review your resumes. The resume we have up first is another recruiter. So now we're having Inception, recruiter reviewing recruiter. So what we need for a recruiter, or actually how they are now called talent acquisition specialists, I have found out that like internal recruiters are typically called talent acquisition specialists, while external are called recruiters, which is really weird that there's a divide, but they are different jobs. So what we need is the degree. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. I need to know the industry, so like healthcare, tech versus non-tech. I need to see high volume. I need to see fill niche and complex openings, the ATS and the type of ATS you have done, because, I mean, really, they're all basically the same, but they still want you to tell me the type, whether it's Workday or Green Day or ADP or Taleo. LinkedIn, Indeed, specifically like LinkedIn Recruiter, Boolean sourcing, MS Office, negotiations, compensation structures, full life cycle recruiting. That is an important one. I want to see that. Customer service with candidates, hiring managers, peers, and HR team, and that you can influence stakeholders, which in this case will be the hiring managers and HR. Along with multitask. And that is what we need for a recruiter. Also, for every non-recruiter out there, if you want to know how good your job market is, you take a look at how many recruiter openings there are. If your industry is having a bunch of recruiters get hired, your industry is good because that means they expect to hire a bunch of you. If you see a bunch of recruiters get laid off en masse from your industry, you are in trouble because that means they are tightening their belts and going to lay off a lot of people. So we are the canaries in the gold mine of the, well, industry, every single industry we're in. Also with HR in that too. Technically they're different, but the same. HR and recruiting are like sisters in that they go hand in hand, but they're not the same. So let's see. Can I find this in 20 seconds? What is this person's ratio? Which, for everybody who's new here, recruiters only have 20 seconds to find your resume or find the stuff we need in your resume. If we take longer than that, we get fired. And the ratio is how many applications it takes to get an interview, which is how you can tell how good your resume is. 1 in 50 is the like not good, but could be worse. So ideally it should be at a minimum 50 applications to 1 interview. Anything higher than that is definitely bad. All right, this person did not say their ratio, and their note to me is, I am open to any sales position as well. I don't believe that recruitment is sales, but that is an opinion that other recruiters will fight me on. Not sure if my resume really meets the requirements, though. Okie dokie. So we have 20 seconds on the clock, and go. Okay, this is all payroll stuff. This is HR, not recruitment. Okay, multi-location payroll, managed onboarding, offboarding, payroll administrations, provided. This is nothing revolving recruitment. This is HR. Yeah, okay. There's nothing involving recruitment here. This is not a recruitment resume. You said it was an HR. You said it was a recruiter resume. This is not a recruiter. This isn't it. This is why you're getting rejected. And this is the difference between recruitment and HR is HR does more of the policy stuff and can sometimes do talent acquisition, but recruiters are the ones who are actually doing the talent acquisition stuff. So I assume what you meant to say is HR specialist, which my eye is causing me issues right now. I'm having some allergies. Sorry, y'all. But an HR generalist and not a recruiter, these are what we need. So HRIS, which is different than an ATS, even though they can sometimes be the same thing. Microsoft Office, still need that. Number of employees your past company has had, ballpark it. We don't need exact. If you say 500 and it's 510, that's fine, or it's okay. We just need to know the generalized number of employees that you've managed. HR best practices in employment law, retention, staffing, payroll, talent acquisition. So this is the recruitment part. Industry, ATS, bonus for HR certs. So can I find this in 20 seconds? And go. Okay, through payroll and processing, good. HR coordinator, management, employees, vendors, cross-department workflow, onboarding, that can be considered. That's good. Industry payroll to multiple systems and platforms, part of HR payroll. And yeah, I still don't see it. This isn't the stuff I'd be looking for. So this is why you have a problem, is your resume doesn't actually have what I'm looking for. So these candidates call them keywords, but I'm going to tell you what we're hunting for, right? Recruiters are not hunting for keywords. We're hunting for qualifications. And a qualification includes a keyword, which is basically a skill, whether it's soft or hard skill, that a employer needs. In this case, it would be HRIS platforms in Microsoft Office and the number of employees. So these can be considered keywords. So a qualification is a keyword plus how you used it, plus the reason or result of you using it, plus where you use it. If you don't have those 4 things, it is not a qualification, with the exception of years of experience and degree or certifications. And you don't show those, which is why you're having trouble. So what you need to do is fix your formatting first. Your formatting should look like this. It is in the link below. It's free. You all need to do it. Trust me, this is the best for almost everybody except for high-level directors and job hoppers. They need a different resume. And then you need to put in bullet points of stuff that I actually care about, because I can't use anything here, because remember, it's where you did it, and that means a professional summary is not useful, nor is a skills section, because it does not show me where you did it. And then I need you to go here, and I need you to tell me what you did. So in this case, it'll be HRIS systems for HR generalist, Microsoft Office, Word, and the rest of this stuff, how you did it, and the reason or result of you doing it. Once you do those, you will start getting more interviews, because right now, this just does not have it. It definitely doesn't have it for recruitment, and it has like a couple of things for generalist, but I need more, right? If you want to get a good ratio, which everybody should want to do, and by the way, once people start using my methods for, most of them have around a 1 in 7. So once you start fully doing it, and your resume is perfect according to what I believe it should be, candidates seem to get a 1 in 7 application ratio, which is for every 7 applications they apply to, they get an interview, which is the goal. Except for internationals, their ratio is going to be skewed a little bit higher just because it's just tougher for them. So yeah, that is what you need to do. You need to fix this, because right now we are in a recession and there are just not as many of these jobs. Right? You're going to see a big uptick in between January, February, and March, but after that, it's going to stabilize and probably go lower than it was last year. So that's all I can do for this resume. Let's go to the next resume, which is going to be, I don't know yet, but before we do, I just want to thank you all for commenting, liking, subscribing, and if you ever need more help, you can join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter, and I wanted to personally thank my members who get access to videos a little bit early. I really do appreciate you. Let's go to the next resume. This is a software engineer intern, and what we need for an intern for a bachelor's level, master's and PhD level are a little bit different, but every single bachelor's intern needs 4 things. We need to see your degree, right? We need to see you're currently enrolled. I need to see a basic knowledge of your industry, so in this case it'll be a tech stack, and the ability to work well with others, and takes direction and criticism. And that's it. A lot of interns overcomplicate their resume, and they put a lot of stuff that we just don't care about. They try to show that they are so good that they can run the company themselves, and quite frankly, that's not what an intern's for. Your job is to be told what to do. It's probably to do the grunt work, the basics, and to learn. And that is why those are qualifications. Now, there are leadership interns, specifically in like the consulting space, but for the vast majority of them, leadership is not what we're looking for. We are looking for how you can be led. So 20 seconds on the clock, which for a software engineer, I'd want like language, library, SQL, cloud, maybe a little bit of AI. And we can, what is their ratio? 1 in 75. Okay, so if their ratio is 1 in 75, then this is not a good resume because it should be a minimum of 150, but it also could be a lot worse. So I'm expecting probably the formatting's off and they need to add 1 or 2 things. But 20 seconds is on the clock and go. Okay, degree, good. Formatting's bad. Continue development of full stacks from scratch for a startup consulting firm. Okay, used Python, good. Server RESTful for publishing blog posts, SQLite for storage post. Python, you already mentioned. SQL implementing features. Okay, front end for all devices. Okay, CI/CD and use PyTorch implemented learning. Took a bunch projects. Okay, where is the can't work together and declined? Okay, let me read what you wrote. But yeah, this is. Your sentences are not terrible. I just need more. Like they're like what's slightly less than mid, right? Like less than mid. It's like a 4 out of 10, which is what a 1 in 75 is. So I'm a third-year student in CS, just recently changed my resume, looking for tips to get a better interview application ratios. Also, can you refer me to anywhere? Oh, man, I wish I could, but I can't. Thank you for your time. So here's how I can at least help your application ratio. So the first thing is you need to use this formatting. This is it. Trust me, it works really well. I don't care if this says barista. There is no difference between a software engineer, a barista, and an accountant in regards to their resume format. You all have the same resume format. You don't need to do anything special. So then we go to here. And again, this should not be bolded. This should be one line, and you should not have a course highlights. If you notice, I do not have course highlights here. And there should not be this line under education, nor under this. So nothing here should be bolded. This should be one line. And then we get to the actual part of the problem, which is the bullet points. So remember, a qualification is a keyword plus where, how, reason, or result. You actually tell me the how, you tell me the reason, or result, and you tell me the where, and you kind of tell me the what, which is the keyword. So your goal should be to put a minimum of 3 keywords per bullet point, and you should have a maximum of 6 keywords per bullet point, and on the amount of bullet points you have should be 3 to 8. So 3 to 6 keywords per bullet point, a max of 3 to 8 bullet points total. And what you've done is, this is actually a well-written sentence, but it only has 2, right? This is an okay sentence, but it only has 1. So what you want to do is combine them, right? So this should be your first sentence alone. This should be your first sentence alone. Should be, let's see, what is this? Worked on a full stack startups web page using Python. In this case, you should actually do Python, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and RESTful APIs for their consulting's firm or something like that. So you should actually have like all of those up, because if you're going for full stack, you should really have your first sentence be TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and you can replace TypeScript with like Python or Java or something. So that should be your first sentence. Then your second one should be deployed blank through CI/CD and GitHubs, and collaborated directly with the CEO. Okay, so here's I need you to write this better. So I want you to write this differently than collaborated. Collaborated is a nothing word, and you should never use it. That is on my no-no list of words. Same with leverage. Although leverage is more okay to use, I just personally don't like it. But collaborate, I think, is a bigger offender. What do you mean by collaborate? Did you meet them one-on-one weekly? Did you translate their product requirements into features? I don't know. Did they just write you an email and then you did it? I don't know. You didn't tell me. This is where you need to tell me the how you worked with them. Because this is actually really good. It's good that you work directly with the CEO. You just don't tell me enough about how you did it. So this is not a burn this whole resume to the ground. This is, you're actually pretty close to what you need to do. And I don't think it's going to take you more than maybe an hour and a half to fix this. And then you can start sending this off everywhere. So fix the formatting, fix the bullet points up. I need them to be 3 keywords, 3 to 6 minimum, right? 3 minimum, 6 maximum per sentence. And then I want you to reduce these bullet points down to probably 3 to 4. I think that's all you need. And then make this your sentence about how you worked well with others and you took direction and criticism, and don't use collaborate. I need details. You can't just say collaborate. Like if someone asked you, hey, can you get the groceries for me? And then you just said, yeah, I collaborated with the grocery store. Like, what do you mean collaborated with the grocery store? So I collaborated with it. It's like, where are the groceries? I collaborated with the grocery store. Does that mean you like looked up and you went in? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. So no collaborated. It's a no-no word. Nobody should use it. But this resume is not the worst. Again, it's like a 4 out of 10. And fixing it shouldn't take too long. And once you do, you'll have a lot better ratio. Next, resume. This is not what you want to do. So first off, this person said PySpark data engineer and Python data analyst. Well, first off, we need to pick one of those because those are different jobs and the qualifications for each of those are going to change. And I tried to look up Python data engineer or PySpark data engineer and Python data analyst. There were no roles called that. It was just data engineer and data analyst. So we are going, because I think it's been a bit of a time since I've done one. This is for a data analyst, not a data engineer. Those are different roles. And it's not a Python specific one. It's just a data analyst, because that is not how the job market works. So this is for a data analyst. And what we need, actually, what is this person ratio? I don't know. They didn't tell me. Great. And they didn't leave a note. Please leave a note. The more information you give me, the better. If you think you are saying too much information, let me be the judge of that. I would rather you say too much than too little and submitting to me, because I can at least help with too much information. So for a data analyst, we need degree, industry. Again, some industries are going to have industry specific keywords like HRISS for healthcare, or like HRIS for sorry, HRIS for some software stuff, which is like human resources, and what is it, H7 for healthcare. So I can't get to every industry, but as long as I see what industry you're in, it'll help. Then I need SQL, data visualization, influencing stakeholders, explaining technical concepts to non-technical stakeholders. That is massive. How you solved a problem with data, not what the data is. That is the biggest mistake that a lot of data analysts make, is they tell me how they got the data, and we don't care. We care what you use it for. MS Excel, macros, pivot tables, VLOOKUP, Word, ETL, which I had to add. That was actually a new one. Python, R, multiple projects and deadlines, and nice to have is cloud and AI. So can I find that? Probably not. And go. Okay, can't use anything here. Where's your education? Okay, you did get the degree. All right, 5 seconds down. Migrated SAS workflow to PySpark, don't care. SQL, okay, good. What is this? Leveraged AWS services. This means nothing. What? Okay, well, at least you have some of the stuff I want. Automate batch. Okay, yeah, this is a yeet it and delete it. So, first off, this doesn't matter. I will stand by this opinion. This doesn't matter. You need to tell me where you used it, or it's worthless. This is why skill sections don't matter. So this should be deleted, and your education should be replaced with it. There's just, if you saw, I lost 6 seconds by scrolling all the way down here until I could find your education. That was 6 seconds. That is more than a quarter of the time I have to spend reading your resume that I wasted by having to find that out. So is your work experience more impactful than your education? Yes. But the reason you put your education up at the top is because it's an easy check, right? Instead of wasting 6 seconds to go all the way down here and then back up, I can go, okay, start. Okay, check, boom. And it takes me less than 1 second. So that is why you put it at the top. It's because it's easy to click off the list of things that we need. And that is actually on a list. Unlike the other stuff where I need to know what you did and how you did it and the reason and result and where, I just need to see the education. That's it. So then we go down to here, and there is PySpark could be nice to have, but there's really nothing here that I need. And then SQL is great, but like, you know what I don't know is I don't know what you did. I'm serious. I don't know what role this is for. I don't know the industry. I don't know who you talk to. I don't see you explaining complex topics to non-technical people. I don't see how you solved any problem with data. All you've told me is that you got the data. But we don't care that you get the data. It's assumed that you can get the data. What we need to know is what you did with it. So not used SQL and PySpark to extract, clean, and transform data, loading into S3 as Hive tables. That means nothing. We don't care. And I'm talking about the hiring manager too. You know what I want you to see? What I want to see is I want to see used SQL, MS Office, and MS Excel to create pivot tables and VLOOKUPs that I brought to our, let's say, stakeholders to show them how, I don't even know what you did, how we lost money on the last transaction and proper fixes, right? That's stuff I want to see. This is nothing. This is why you're having an issue, because these aren't even the right things I'm looking for, too. That's actually the shocking thing, is I care about Python, but the rest of this I don't even care about. Yeah, except for SQL. So you need to go back to the drawing board, and while this formatting is fine, it doesn't matter if you don't have the bullet points. This is the most important part. Like, no one, in fact, I want you to look at the jobs for data analyst, right? I want you to look at jobs, and I want you to challenge you to find you a job that says your requirement is to establish GitLab CI/CD pipelines to productionize large-scale ETL platforms. That if you don't do that, you're going to get rejected, because none of them say that. And I'm not being mean to pick on you. I'm being mean so that you know, so that you can get a job, because it is stressful to not get a job. And this is the problem. Is you tell me nothing about what you did, nothing about what you worked with, is you don't have any context. And the context is what makes a qualification a qualification. That's why we can't just keyword hunt, is the context is what matters. So that's all I can do for this one, but these bullet points need to be completely rewritten. They're not even correct. And I bet if I looked at it for a data engineer, they'd also be wrong too. Except for ETL, I know that's one of them. Next, resume. This is a software engineer intern. So, second verse, same as the first. This is what we need. Can I find it in 20 seconds? And go. Develop marketing pipeline to course from MySQL, but on daily code review. That's pretty solid. Created RESTful APIs. Retrieve data. That plane is very loud. Azure SQL to build this pipeline. Automate testing. Okay, I think this would sort of work. This is hard to read, but you have some of the stuff I need. Let me see what you wrote. This isn't terrible, right? Like, this is probably, I think this is better than the last one. I'm an international student aspiring for a software engineer intern. After following your videos, I've worked on upscaling my old projects. I recently made big changes on my resume. Okay, so this is the changed version of your resume. That makes sense, because I'm like, this isn't that bad, actually. Because I haven't gotten any interviews with my old resume. I made 60 applications. That's not enough. That's not enough. Again, I can get people like a 1 in 7, but for interns in particular, and because you're international, that ratio is going to be higher than that. You should be applying to a minimum of 50 applications a week if you can. Some markets you're not able to, and I fully recognize it, but the average goal and the good rule of thumb is you should be applying to 50 roles a week. For most people. Again, like directors are going to be some exceptions. There's just not that many roles available. Also, I put my experience section below the project section since all of them are Unity-based projects. For the university, I'm not sure if that's a fair thing to do. I'm open to your criticism, and thank you so much for the help. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so here's my problem with this resume. It's not bad. It's just you kind of overdid it. Because, like, I'm not actually sure what stack this is. I think it's Python, probably, but then you kind of did a little bit of full stack on the second one, which is fine. As an intern only, you can have multiple stacks on your resume, but each job should still be at least based on it. So I would like you, what I would like you to do is change this around a little bit, right? Created, which is fine, developed is fine too, a recommendation pipeline to process course data using Python, MySQL, what else did you do? RESTful APIs, and GitLab. That would be a fine first sentence. And then the second one, you can say, conducted daily reviews with my teammates, which is good. I actually like that one. With my teammates, where we did X and Y using X and Y. So in this case, you're telling them, like, we went over each other's code in Python, or since you've already said Python, in GitLab or whatever it is, and Azure and APIs and Docker. And we made changes based on those recommendations to each other's. That's fine. Because right now I just have a problem is that there's just not quite enough here. I just want a little bit more. Also, your formatting is slightly off. This is how it should look like, not this. So this should be one line. There should be no underline here. This should have no underline. This should be italicized. You actually missed that. So these are italicized. You don't need the dates because projects are projects. Like, you know, dates don't matter. You made them up. That's fine. So it's not bad. It's just I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more about how you worked with other people. I need a little bit more in the first sentence, particularly about the tech stack. And I want you to be very focused on it because I don't think Azure ACR is something they're looking for, but cloud is. They probably won't care too much about fast APIs. And PyTest they might, but they would like GitLab. So again, this is not bad, all right? I'm being picky, but I want to make sure you get as much as you can. And then this sentence should be probably the first. But like, I don't actually know the stack of this one, because this would, because it's like RESTful, JavaScript, and Node, I would assume this is maybe full stack. But I want you to just state out very plainly, like using JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and Python or TypeScript or whatever. Because if you have to write JavaScript, you need to put HTML and CSS. And in most of these, you have to put JavaScript. In fact, I would say a general rule is if anything ever mentions JavaScript, or I tell you to put in JavaScript, you always need to bundle that with HTML and CSS together with it. I don't think I've seen a single role where those three have not been in the same. So you want to say developed RESTful, created a ticket booking system in JavaScript, HTML, CSS for the front end, and blank for the back end, which I migrated to Azure. Right? Again, the problem is they may believe that Azure MySQL is different for Azure and MySQL. And one of those is cloud and one of those is SQL. But if you have them both together, they may not move forward with it because they don't know that. Or it could not be. And if Java is different than JavaScript, then Azure MySQL may be different than MySQL and Azure. That is the rule. I don't make it, but I've been yelled at early enough in my career about enough software engineers when I was still learning of the differences between Java and JavaScript. You never mess that up. If you're a recruiter and you're watching this, never make that mistake. You will lose all credibility with that engineer for the rest of your life, and probably fair and valid. But because of that, you also can't assume that Azure MySQL is the same as Azure or MySQL. So couple of formatting issues, couple of like rewording a little bit of the sentences, but overall this is not bad. Next, resume. This is a machine learning engineer. We don't know their ratio, but they said, I need a visa sponsorship in the UK, preferably, but also open to the EU or the US. This makes things harder for me. That is true. You are going to have a more challenging time. So with the full disclosure that I am a US-based recruiter, right? I am US-based, and I don't know the EU market as well, but I have gotten people jobs in the EU and the UK. The first thing I want to make sure is before you apply to the US, you need work authorization. It doesn't matter. That is the most important thing, is you need this. You need the work authorization to work in the US first. And I don't know if you have that. If you do, and you're on an F1 OPT, or you're on an H1B, then it's going to be tough, but doable to get a job. But it is going to be tough. So what we need for a machine learning engineer, which, and I will judge this as if, that was not the case, because that's just the best thing I could do with this, is for a machine learning engineer, degree, machine learning, ML, LLMs, OpenAI, Claude, Llama, LangChain, etc., ML Ops, CI/CD, containerization, Kubernetes, Cloud, SQL, ML frameworks, PyTorch, TensorFlow, Python, R, Cloud, ML pipelines, NLP, influence cross-functional teams, explaining complex topics, and production-grade ML systems from start to finish, 0 to 1. Those are what we need. If we do not find 75% of those, we cannot move you forward. So, we start the clock, and hopefully these are the same in the UK as well. They should. Most of them are. It's really only like a couple of them that seem to be different, but I just always want to let people know where my expertise starts and ends. And again, while I have gotten people jobs in the EU and the UK and Africa and Canada and Mexico, I'm not a recruiter there primarily, and there are things that I am just going to miss, and that's unfortunately the case. So, and go. Okay, this is hard to read. Can't use anything there. Where's your education? Okay, here we go. Down here. Good. Degree. Okay, global, what? Okay, don't care. Automated, produced, built ML pipeline for global. Okay, that's actually solid for driving revenue. I don't care about that. Reduce manual analysis time for ML workflow. Okay. Optimize performance in the video. Okay, that's it. Decline. There's nothing here. So first off, you sent this as an image file, and I want to be clear. Make sure you submit in a PDF, Word, or Google Docs format. If you send an image file or a JPEG to a ATS, it might not read it. But as long as you are in Word or Google Docs or PDF, the ATS can read it. That is actually something that can happen. Now, the problem with this is I can read this, even though it's slightly, I have to zoom in. This formatting is so small. Did you try to make it one page? Yeah. Okay. So let's zoom in a little bit to hurt my old eyes. And here we have the problem. Where's the machine learning? Can I actually, is it going to let me highlight? Okay. Here we go. All the way down here. Now, first off, I can hear the comments. Where's the machine learning? ML means machine learning. Cool. They may not know that. And I don't care how enraging that is. You need to put, for the very first time, just what I put up there, machine learning, parentheses, ML. And then for the rest of that resume, you can just say ML instead of machine learning. But it's entirely probable that the person working on that either calls it something different or alternatively is working 30 to 40 other requisitions in different industries. You can never expect the person reading your resume first or sometimes even second to be an expert in the industry. It's never a good idea. And then the problem is, even assuming this was machine learning, which it is because you said ML, and I actually know that because I'm a tech recruiter, is this is fine, right? You built production ML pipelines for global leak monitoring, which is good. That actually tells me exactly what you did. Then you lost me because this is not relevant. Why do I care that you used vision transformers driving 1 million revenue? Have you seen in a job description it says you need to have made a minimum of 1 million revenue to get the role? No, does not say that. None of them say that. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for this stuff. Then reduced manual analysis time. I don't care. That's not relevant. Via ML flow, maybe, but you already mentioned ML before. With drift detection achieving F1 of 0.83. Nobody knows what that is. You know what that is. Nobody else knows what that is. Optimized inference by 31%. What inference? Why does that matter? Through quantization and NVIDIA Triton deployment, enabling real-time. None of that matters except NVIDIA. No, that's only because NVIDIA is very popular, but even then, they may not know NVIDIA. Created mine failure detection. Okay, good. You told me what it was used for. Using time series generative modeling 70. None of this is relevant. Where is the LLM stuff? The OpenAI, the Claude, the Llama, the LangChain, the LangGraph. Where's the ML Ops, the CI/CD, the containerization, the Kubernetes, the cloud, the SQL, the PyTorch, the TensorFlow, the Python, the cloud? Why do I always put cloud twice? Every single time I put cloud twice. The ML pipelines you did actually have, so that one's good. That's 2 things you've had. NLP, where's influencing cross-functional teams and explaining complex topics? Where's making production-grade ML systems from start to finish? Your resume has nothing in it because you tried to show how good you are, and you can't do it. This, in the US, is what we need. And I imagine in the UK and the EU that it's at least 90% of this, too, as well. Maybe, I think it's in the EU and the UK that Python is more replaced by Java, is that Java is more popular than Python. I think that actually seems to be the main difference. But this has nothing I want. You spent this entire time, and the only things you told me is that you've done ML pipelines and machine learning. And that's only if they know that machine learning means ML. But none of the rest of this stuff matters. You have wasted all of this space. And yeah, YOLO 5, none of this matters. You've said nothing. Oh, here's TensorFlow. I actually found TensorFlow. Nothing in this resume works. You need to delete this and start again. Especially if you are a international. You're already facing a steeper climb and a more difficult journey than the rest of us. And that sucks. But like, your resume has to be better. It needs to look like this. Formatting wise, it needs to look like this. And then the bullet points, you need to have good bullet points. There's nothing here. Like, if you look at the jobs, they are not asking for any of this. They are asking for this. This is it. I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's so basic. That's so boring. How do I differentiate myself? You don't. You don't. The interview is where you say this stuff. The interview is where you prove this stuff with the hiring managers, but not on the resume. A resume, if you try to stand out with the resume, you fail. You cannot stand out with the resume. That is not what they're there for. They're there to show that you meet the bare minimum qualifications and nothing else. If you show anything other than that, you have already failed. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying that's the purpose of a resume. You know, it's like saying I created let's say I created a car that can do your taxes and can surf the web, but it can't drive. Cool. You don't want the car. It doesn't matter that it can do your taxes. You need a car to drive someplace. And that is a problem with most people's resume is you put in all this extra stuff that we're not looking for when it doesn't matter how much extra. We just need to know, can you take me to the grocery store? And based on your resume, you said no. This is important. This is not. So, I want to thank you all for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you very much. And if you need any more help, you can always join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST at twitch.tv/headlesshunter. I hit my hand on the desk and that really hurt. And thank you very much for my members who get access to videos early. I do really do appreciate your support. So thank you very much. And I will see you all in the next video.